Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the agenda. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from May 7th, 24.
I'll make that motion. Read them, but I have recollection that it's it.
Second. Motion made and second to approve the minutes from the May 27th meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Public comment, any public comment? Right. Receipt of information from supervisors not seated as committee members. I see we have a couple. Is there anything you'd like to? Okay.
I'm just gonna grab an agenda.
Oh, yeah, I just put one. Okay. Fair Society update. Anybody from the fair here?
Mr. Chair, I can give an update on the facility side of the fair.
Okay.
We did create CIPs for the requests from the fair to the county. Poultry rabbit barn. To go over the roofing for that for 30,000. 19,000 for LED lights and the hog sheep barn. 15,000 for news acquisition in the admin building. And the show barn roof should be completed today, weather permitting.
Okay. I see an email that they had a leak. That was something that they hadn't completed yet then?
Yeah, that's what they're doing today. And I haven't received any information on the bleachers for the grandstand. Still, Cedar Core is still waiting on info back from the Fair Society as well.
And those requests for the rabbit barn roof, the LED lights are all requests for the 2025 budget cycle.
Okay. See, I attended their meeting on the 23rd of May. They were gonna have a meeting then, the 28th, 9th, or 30th, somewhere in there to discuss the email from Cedar Corp. So I had hoped that they would have that information by now. See, there's continued from April 22nd until 5/29, there's continuous requests for the information.
And I resent that email this morning also to follow up again on it.
Yeah, so nothing can happen with Cedar Corp until we get the information from them. So the projects and negotiations are on hold because of that. Anything else?
Not on the fair side.
Update from Public Works.
Lamb Falls work is proceeding. Currently, they're putting in the cofferdam. That is being installed. We had a request through Supervisor Olson to save the old turbine that's sitting up there from a citizen. They want it placed in such a way that they can plant flowers in it eventually. So I reached out to Ayers and Lunda, and they were fine with saving it. We just got to let them know where to put it. All said and done.
How big is that? Is that all?
That
it
big
is?
around and that tall.
Oh,
It's pretty heavy though.
I-
The ATV intensive use area work is progressing. Obstacles and tracks are being installed. The parking lot is cut in. It is not open for use yet. I know there was some questions in the ATV meeting concerning that. It is not open for use. And I am getting a bid to put a well up in that area, whether it be at the intensive use area or the Sterling Loop, the campground. Just to get a rough price to see how much that's gonna be. I mean, if we're looking at 20,000 or 30 or, I don't know. So we're just getting some ideas there. Recycling work continues around the rain. They're dealing with some pretty good swimming pools down there. So we're working through a few issues. But other than that, the work is going slowly but surely with weather. That's all I have on the public works side.
As long as they understand they can't put that turbine on the highway right away. Okay, they gotta get that thing far enough away so when it hits it.
It's actually, if you're standing on the bridge looking at the powerhouse, it's gonna be in the grassy area to the left of where the old powerhouse is. And it'll be 100 feet off the road.
Great.
On that well you mentioned, is that for restrooms or?
No, we have a pit toilet up there right now. But that would be, we had a request for people trying to wash off machines. Or that's one of the prerequisites when you have a campground too, is you have to have water. And so many feet. What is it?
100 feet, I believe.
Of those sites up there. So that'd be another thing we can check off. Doesn't mean you can't have a campground if you don't have the water, but that just helps us get the permitting
Got an
process.
idea how deep the wells are there?
Beecroft said right off the bat, anywhere from 170 to 300. Generally in that area, but they were gonna go up and take a look specifically at that site and give me a rough estimate.
Almost push a pipe down in that sand.
I just did one 360 and it's expensive.
Yeah.
That's all I have on the public.
Would
works
we
side.
get any assistance on something like that?
But we have we would check to see if we could utilize the grant that we have first. And then we have the P-TAG money set aside for that also, that we could fall back on. But the first and foremost would be the grant money we already have.
Okay, any questions for Public Works? Seeing none, we'll move on to the Public Works fee discussion. This discussion was brought forward after meeting with Public Works, Mo and County Chair and I, where this was introduced to Chair and I, and we decided to bring it to this meeting for discussion. Both County Board for further discussion.
So the purpose of the this handout is discussion of implementing a recycling fee countywide. So the first page on your handout, we talk about, how a recycling fee could be utilized. Eventually, in the big scheme of things, that we would want to have the recycling center become neutral at no cost against the levy by 2027, and establishing it as an enterprise fund down there. So then the fee, and then I'm going to kind of jump around here. The fee that we did was just a flat $30 fee. And currently we have, for our MRF, which is a material recovery facility, we're the only county in the state that doesn't charge any fee for that. And on the next page, it shows all the counties in the state and then some in Minnesota, what their fees are. So what we're proposing is not the highest, it's not the lowest, it's kind of right in between. And then this fee would be able to be set aside to replace equipment without using CIP funding. It would cover additional costs of special collections for residents. We would upgrade equipment with that fee. We'd have it set aside where we wouldn't have to, come to the county board or go through the CIP process and the budget process to ask for funding for a new truck or, a new baler or anything like that. We'd be able to use this fee for that. So my example in the middle of the first page there is in 2023, Polk County had 23,766 improved land parcels between residential, commercial, and manufacturing. If we charge $30 per parcel, that would equate to $712,980 annually. This would totally offset what is currently being utilized out of the levy. We had 330,000 of levy dollars used towards recycling. And then the annual revenue from the fee would cover the current levy dollars. Plus we could start the enterprise fund and future equipment purchases. This would also include vehicles, skid steer, forklift, and replacement of any of the sorting equipment. In 2025, we could reduce the levy used at recycling by 50%, saving roughly $165,000 while starting the new equipment replacement. We would also be able to utilize the saved levy funds for other positions needed throughout the county. In 2026, we would hopefully be self-sustaining with no levy funds being utilized at recycling. The last 50% of the saved levy funds would be roughly $165,000, again, being utilized towards other county needed positions. So if you turn to the fourth page, it actually has the breakdown of real estate valuation summary. So I've checked off the three numbers that we'd be looking at. We would actually charge this fee to, and that would be the residential, the commercial, and the manufacturing. And that's where we came up with our numbers on the first page. Noting that the ones that aren't checked, that agricultural, undeveloped, agricultural forest, and other, we wouldn't be charging folks that just have land if it's just hunting land. Part of the other category are farmers that have buildings on adjacent land to what they own, or another house on the other land. We wouldn't be charging them dual fees. It would be just the residential side of things. And it'd be the, like I said, the top three there is where we would be at. And it'd be if you look at the categories, there's a total, a land, and an improved. It would just be the improved sections of residential, commercial, and manufacturing. That's where it came up with 23,766 parcels. And then the last page is the equipment pricing that we already know that we'll have to come up with to house the new building and the renovated space with new equipment. And these numbers are different than the ones I had originally given you, Jay and Steve, because we got updated numbers on the baler and it was much more expensive than. So this 1.295 million, our thought is that through this fee that we would pay for this and feather it out over 1, 2, or 3 years and have the fee pay for everything and nothing come off the levy and nothing come off the through the CIP process.
Right, and the caveat, what Rod's talking about was back in 1990, when they established, recycling came out and the laws came out, was very important. The Polk County decided to go with a MRF, a recycling center. One of the things they didn't do though is set up a recycling fee to help cover expenses. So we've always relied on the levy and the market, whether we're above or run as a negative. And this is probably our best opportunity now to turn the recycling center into its own enterprise fund, so it's self-efficient and self-sustaining. Otherwise, we get back to that deferred maintenance, and when things get tight, you start cutting the equipment, you start cutting maintenance on it. The recycling fee at $30 on residentials would help us do that. And when Rod talks about freeing up levy, right now we allocate about 330,000 in levy towards operations. What also you don't see though, is if we have a bad year and we're in the whole $100,000, that's another $100,000 that's coming out of the general fund to cover expenses at the recycling center. So as commodities go up and down, this fluctuates. And the goal of this, as we phase this in, would be in 2026, to pull all the levy out of the recycling center and put that towards positions at law enforcement. Working with Don's now working on a grant for several officers that's covered for a couple of years at 50%. By that time, our fee would be established and in there, and we could fund those positions, you know, around 3 positions of law officers for the remaining part of that, though, to offset that levy with that. So, and then the ongoing fee would cover not only the big stuff we're talking about, but the ongoing cost of pickup trucks, forklifts, that type of issue. And at some point, if that fund becomes too robust, we can always look at capping that fund balance and any remaining stuff then coming back to the general fund for operations. We just want to make sure we just leave enough in there to keep the operation running smoothly for updates on that. So that's the plan we're looking at to do this. And one of the reasons we included the commercial sites in there, we get a lot of commercial recycling in our drop bins. And one of the goals is with our new equipment and stuff, our commercial haulers can actually come in with a single stream and start dumping material in there. Our drop boxes would still remain commingled, but commercial hauler could come in and dump and bring that much more revenue in because we have our updated equipment that could streamline that. So
And part of our,
to save the levy, because the levy is very tough at this moment, you know, our levy does not go up with inflation, nor does it move up with the cost of living. It becomes very challenging to keep things moving.
and part of our, with the upgrade of all our equipment, we can go to more of a single stream. And normally more people will be willing to recycle on a single stream because they don't have to try to sort and figure out what is and what isn't allowable. And then even our bins, we could switch over to more of a single stream because we'd have the capability of sorting it all at the recycling center.
That recycling, 1295, is that all new equipment? Would we be using some equipment used still in part of the venue?
No, that would be all, that's for all the new equipment that we'd need for down there.
Any value in?
There's actually, we found a vendor that if we replace the baler, he would be interested in buying our old one. I'm sure not a lot, but at least it'd be
I think I
something.
remember when we bought baler and some of that equipment.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Do we still have a Chinese market on baled stuff or?
On some of it, but it's limited.
China's mostly out of the game right now for recycling. It's all running off the typically Chicago market with plastic and commodities on what we're getting for a bale versus if we're able to sort better, you know, we can do a natural plastic bale is 3 times more valuable than a commingled bale
Oh,
of
yeah.
plastic. So,
Yeah, we need a sort.
you know, our equipment is, I don't think it's been replaced since 1990. So it is, they do a good job of keeping it together, but an update would definitely bring in more efficiencies.
Do we still have some special needs people that are doing some work there?
Yes, the Endeavor clients are still there helping sort. And we continue that program.
Yeah, none of the equipment would replace them. We'd still utilize their help.
I believe it's our challenge to decide if we want to sit forward this to county board for discussion. I would think it would be
I think it's,
committee of the whole discussion, I would imagine, and
Yeah.
see how everybody else feels about it and pass on the information. And
well, yeah, I think we should pass this, make a motion. Is there any more questions first of all?
I just had a comment that It's my understanding you're gonna expand service as well with this,
Correct.
where you would have more containers, because that's probably your number one complaint is the containers are full and you can't get them out fast enough.
Correct.
You'd have an additional truck, correct me if I'm wrong, plus more containers.
Right. Yeah. Wouldn't happen immediately, but
Yeah,
Yes.
your service level is gonna, by 26, your service level will be up to, capacity where you're
Yeah.
keeping up with everything.
yeah, and the more bins we have out, as long as we can keep up with it, the more revenue we gain out of that too. So,
The commercial haulers would also potentially expand on the use at ours,
yes.
which would increase the remuneration. Yeah,
Yep. And I know, Waterman's has already asked if,
right.
when we're all said and done, if they'd be able to bring single stream to us.
That'd be a big fact.
And we do have this on the agenda for general government, so
I think that got taken off.
taken off.
Yeah, because there was that discussion of only putting it through one committee.
Well, I'll make a motion that we move this forward to the full county board for their consideration of the project with an affirmative feeling on our part.
A second.
Um,
All those in favor of the motion?
I,
Opposed? Do that. Update from highway.
Passed out a couple of reports here. Want to talk to me about getting a monthly summary report for the committee meetings to meet some statutory requirements. So this report was hot off the press half an hour before I got here. I haven't even had time to digest it, but me and Carrie were working to get a report that would summarize monthly expenditures. It'll most likely be a month or so behind just due to post-included highway when we bring this to each committee meeting, because we're always a little bit behind with posting everything at highway. So if you have any questions on that, after you get a chance to review it, let me know. And I also passed out the 2023 financial report of highway operations. Following our audit, the financial book for 2023 for you guys to take a look at. Currently on activities down at Highway Shop, we're right in the middle of paving today. I think we'll wrap up today, weather permitting, on County Road Double J, Double C. The paving is complete down on County Road Double C by the county line. We've got to shoulder them both next week. JJ, they might need to do some intersection work tomorrow, but shouldering that next week also. During shouldering, we're gonna pull a couple of trucks off shouldering and get some guys mowing. We've had several complaints on mowing. The grass is growing really well this year with all the rain we've had. Typically, we'd start mowing around this time of year and try to get on the state the 1st of July and get that done. We're required to have the state mowed by the beginning of August, so try to get the county done first and then get the state. We're only allowed one long line mowing for the state each year, so we try to get that right in the middle of summer and get it to last as long as we can, unless we need to do some safety concern for vision or something like that on the state system. We can still get out there and address those issues. But yeah, the grass has really been sprouting up well this year. As far as chip seals and the rest of the schedule for the summer on construction and maintenance, the chip seals are still on schedule for mid-July. County Road V overlay is still scheduled for the week of August 19th for paving. And then County Road F is still in the beginning of September 9th and September 16th for milling and overlaying County Road F. And And we just came back from the summer road school. Mr. Bonaprise and Chairman Warndall were down there for the summer road school. And we split up and attended different classes. I know you guys attended a couple different classes than I did. And there was some new stuff. They talked about fiber asphalt and some new technologies in the asphalt industry. And they had a couple of classes on running effective meetings and ethics and stuff like that too down there. For all, it seemed like a pretty.
Steve and I sat in on that.
Yep.
Basically, what I got out of it, Steve, was there was in our general session, there was update on financial report, what the state would allow, and I think that was very informative. Never enough.
No, it's not a great outlook when they present the numbers to you and
When you said what the state would allow on mowing, so on Facebook this morning, there was a picture of an intersection where, weeds were that tall and people were having trouble on vision.
Yep.
And even after that first mow, some of that'll happen again. Are we allowed to do anything on our own, or?
we can address those, even under our RMA contract. We've got some discretion to go out and address those vision issues. If it's a safety issue, we can.
Yeah.
As far as, full length.
That is reality right now.
It is, yeah. We went out and mowed at 150th Street and Highway 8 today. There was an accident out there the other day, and we got a request from the sheriff's department to go out there and take a look at that. So we mowed that intersection back a little bit this morning just because the visibility was getting tough looking to the east when you're turning off of 150th onto 8. So yeah, we do have some discretion to go out and address those issues as needed with the mowing.
Awesome.
How about invasive species? Have you had issues with that?
Yes, we have a lot of issues with invasive species in the
Parsnip.
right of ways. Yes, parsnip, knotweed. There's a lot of issues with
Parsnip
that.
seems to be spreading rampantly.
It is the current mowing schedule with the state for our area. Unfortunately, when we get out there and mow those ditches, we're only allowed a single pass on both sides of the road. So we're only getting 10 feet per pass on that. And of course, the state right away can be anywhere from 33 feet to 100 feet. So we're never addressing those. I'm a big fan of getting into some spraying to help control those invasives. We've talked to a couple of vendors about a PGR program. It's a grass growth inhibitor. It can reduce the amount of mowing you need to do, less mechanical means for mowing. Plus, there's also chemicals in there that will address some of the invasives that are in the ditch like parsnip and stuff. Yeah, it's still friendly to milkweed for your monarch butterfly population. So as we get more dialed in on what we need we can retrofit some of our existing equipment to handle that for the spraying. The big thing will be getting some public information out there for people just so they can understand what we're doing. And I know in the past when we started spraying guardrails, some people get pretty worried about that when they see us spraying right away. So it'll be up to us to educate the public on why we're doing it and what the needs are with those invasives.
At that time, you could probably notify them as to the problems that they could encounter with parsnip.
Yeah.
That's very serious to individuals.
And we're already working on getting that program rolling. We've got 4 certified herbicide applicators in the department now. We sent them to classes. We had a couple on staff, sent a couple more to get trained in the proper application of chemicals in the right of way. So we've got certified applicators on staff. We need to get the equipment retrofitted to handle it. And then before we start doing it, we'll try to get out ahead of it with some public information.
That's good.
I remember a couple of years ago, it was, I think, latter part of September, and I got a call from a constituent, and we were out spraying some of the bridges. He was real upset about it. I'd done a little research and found out that the spray we were using was a soybean emulsion base. Oh, man, was he ever happy and apologetic then?
Yeah,
You know, they don't know the basics. Which one of these did you say was statutory? This one?
Yes,
from what I understood.
yeah, there's a statute that says the highway committee will audit the highway department monthly. But that's all it says. It doesn't, so we're gonna supply just a summary of activities for a previous month. It'll probably be 1 month behind, so that right there is April.
As long as it's pretty basic. It'd be all right.
And we broke it down into a summary of the large ticket items, highway operations, equipment, county road, county maintenance and construction.
I mean, if we got the same thing as what you got down there in the office for your reports down there, that should be very sufficient.
Well, when you get a chance to look it over, let me know if you have questions and I'll certainly answer any I can. And that was all I had for my report, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for the highway commissioner? Just have a comment, you know, I spent quite a bit of time talking with that guy with that spray that stunts grass growth.
Mr. Shambo.
Yeah, it keeps the nice grass look to it. It just doesn't grow as fast, and then you get the invasives along with it. So I think it'd be a pretty good investment to try, you know, do a trial run on a highway and try that,
Yes,
just to see what the results are.
that's what we were hoping to do, was pick a couple of routes as trials and as sort of have a control and then our trial routes and apply those and see how it works.
Yeah, and then F from where to where's the paving?
From 65 to Duranda for the mill and fill on County Road F.
Okay. Anybody else? We'll move along. Sheriff Walk, you're up.
We have, probably our biggest news that's gone on. Last Thursday, we had a guilty verdict in the 39-year-old cold case
Yeah.
that happened. Pretty excited about that. Just, you know, honestly, I'll tip my hat to the staff at the sheriff's office that worked on that and also the district attorney. It took a lot of effort on everybody's part to make that case happen. I did deputize former prosecutor Mark Biller, who assisted for the past 2 years on this cold case. He was instrumental. So, you know, several trips to Arizona were needed to make that case happen. And I had a lot of ambitious deputies that wanted to do that. So, great news, great for the community and great for the family of the victim. So it's a big celebration. I actually had a call from a New York TV producer that makes crime shows. So who knows, we might get more publicity of this eventually. Another exciting thing that I got to do last month, we had 2 deputies graduate from Chippewa Valley Technical College recruit school program, and I got to be the commencement speaker. And it was especially honorable for me because exactly 30 years ago, I sat in the chair as a recruit. So kind of neat to go full circle and be the one to deliver the commencement address. So that's Deputy Justin Zacharias and Michael Hall. They're our 2 newest sworn deputies. So I'm excited to have them in field training now, and by the end of the summer, they'll be ready.
Hasn't Michael been in law enforcement for a while?
Michael was, both Michael and Justin were correction staff. So, you know, we kind of steal from Peter to pay Paul on that, but you know, if you don't meet the needs of your employees, they're probably going to leave. So we're excited to have them join us on the patrol end, and we have filled the positions that they vacated in the jail. So things are going well with staffing. Unfortunately, we did have 4 fatals this summer, and they all kind of hit around the same time. We had a motorcycle fatality. We had 2 young males in a vehicle that crashed by Milltown, and they both died. We also had a car versus semi-fatal in Clear Lake. And, you know, that's interesting because it was a fuel tanker that overturned in that crash, and we had very minimal spillage. And I'll give credit to those fire departments that responded. Clear Lake Fire, very quick response and contained the spill, and our emergency manager worked with that process to make sure the spill was handled correctly.
That's a driver that passed.
the driver of the car who ran the stop sign passed, and there was 2 small children in the car. And one is still in pretty serious condition, so.
It's an odd intersection.
Well, I had just driven through that intersection prior to that crash and stopped, and I noticed the cross because I had been to that fatal a few years ago. And, you know, it shouldn't be, and there's not that much traffic at times on Highway 63, but for
Right.
whatever reason, that has been, and I know they just redid that intersection too.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
it is. We also had some headlines with the Luck graduation. We had a credible threat to do active shooting at the Luck graduation. So working closely with the Luck school, we had to cancel the ceremony. And then we did luckily make a quick arrest, and I can't get into it because it's a pending criminal case, but we had a good resolution to that. And I will compliment Luck Police and also Luck School District. They were excellent to work for, and there was no pushback on canceling the service. So, and that's a big thing for people, graduation. So it was a good outcome on that one, and we got some good press out of that as well. This earlier last week, I went in and I met with zoning office here and worked with their employees just on some legal issues as far as search and seizure and their role as government agents. And I think that was well received. I had been contacted by Sarah McCurdy to work with her staff a little bit, just so we're all up to date on what government agents can and can't do. So I think it was well received, and I enjoyed working with another county department to make sure that they're squared away. And I guess finally, I'll just conclude with the sad news that yet again, another law enforcement officer close by has been killed. You know, the Minneapolis officer Jamal Mitchell was killed. And that's extremely troubling. That's just across the river. We have Minneapolis officers that live in our community. So this hits all of us. And I think the funeral for that is next week. I just saw now. So that is one of the reasons why not many people are going into law enforcement, this national dialogue that's caused violence towards law enforcement. So very troubling and very difficult to see. But like every other one, we continue to do our mission. So my thoughts are certainly with that agency and that officer's family. That's all I have.
I was waiting for a call for you to send me down to Arizona for some,
Yeah,
to get some evidence.
we could have probably done that. Used your place. We could have saved some lodging, right? We could have bunked with you, right?
That lady worked for my aunt in St. Croix Falls at the time that it happened. LJ's working there 28 years, that family.
Any questions for the sheriff or comments?
No,
Job well done.
Just have one comment. I needed to meet Lisa, pick up a document from Lisa over at the law enforcement center. I said, I'll meet you at the front door. So I came through the front door and told the security people, you know, I'm waiting for Lisa to, and they did their job with me. They questioned, they kept questioning, why are you here? What are you getting? You know,
Good.
what's your business here? Because I was standing in their area. I was very impressed that they were that thorough, you know.
Good to hear. And
Probably seen me come through there 25 times, but it didn't make no difference to them.
sure.
They just did their job, didn't offend me at all. You know, I was just waiting for Lisa to bring the document out for me so I wouldn't have to go through everything to get it.
Yep.
They did their job.
And that's a good point. You know, we do occasionally get some pushback from some of the lawyers that frequent the county and that, but you know, again, their job is to screen and make sure that it's a secure facility. So that is our jail staff now, and I think that's worked out very well. I know there was excitement for those positions. It gave somebody a chance to change a little bit, and I always say that's the best thing we have going for staff is there are different avenues to specialize and find a different assignment. So that's worked out well, I think, for everybody. So good. I'm glad to hear that feedback.
I just want to make one comment. Hope to get this to come out right, but I've watched the news and about the Minneapolis one, and it brings back memories to me because Glenn Johansson was my best friend in high school, and I was in his wedding, and he was shot on the job down as an Eau Claire officer, and all he was doing was going to a domestic. He got out of his car and they shot him with the deer rifle. And he lived through it, but he couldn't handle being an officer. But it hits home.
Yep. Definitely. And as we talked here today, when I came here, our deputies were going to a domestic. So, you know, these are not isolated incidents. And we just had a mental health call where someone was making death threats today. So you think, gee, it's kind of a rainy, dull Thursday, but no, there's always something going on. So, but you know, interestingly enough, at the academy, I just spoke at that graduation and it's 20 weeks. And when I went through 30 years ago, it was only 10 weeks. So they already get twice the training that I got. So I told them they were twice as smart as I was when I started. Well, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks for all that.
Norby, you don't have to get up, you got a bad hoof there.
What's this peg leg now? Are you on disability? We only pay you 25%.
No, I need to renegotiate. In May, sales tax was up about 5.8%, so 103,000 over 2023, which is good news since April was flat with sales tax. Just to hit on the report Josh passed out for the highway department, the audit there. Since Josh started January 1 of this year. If you have questions on the report, let me know. But remember, 2023 was a different year, especially coming out of this. The beginning of 2023 was one of our worst winters in a long time with record snows, where the opposite happened in the fall, where we had it very dry, which unfortunately meant that we exhausted all our salt sand materials in the spring, which meant in summer we had to screen sand to get that back, replenish all our sheds, subsequently buy all that salt back again. But in the fall had no sales to recuperate any revenue because we had no winter coming on the backside. So we did go into our fund balance. Overtime was up, materials. We kept our projects on task with the increase in asphalt, so we didn't want to diminish or fall behind in our road program. So when you read the report, if you have questions, reach out to Josh or myself on those. Since I was more of I was in charge at that time for the budget at that time. So if you have questions on those, but that's all I got for a report. We're working on budgets. The departments have their income statements and are working with that and staffing plans, and fees have gone out to some committees, and fees will be coming in July to the other committees for approval for then going to the board in August. That's all I have.
Any questions for the administrator?
Dr. Moe, have you got an idea what percentage of increase asphalt is this year?
This year,
The oil base and everything.
this year it dropped approximately, I think, $2 a ton. It went down. All those things went down. Pulverizing went down, milling went down, and asphalt went down.
But the townships are really having a hard time.
Yeah, we saw a $2 a ton drop, approximately $2 a ton drop.
On the emulsion oils
Yep.
for patching, spray patching, chip
That's good
sealing.
news because everything else is up in their budget.
Stuff out there.
Anybody
Mr.
else?
Chair,
Yes.
I'm wondering if I could leapfrog in front of Supervisor Rowdy's update on the ATV UTV committee, because I'm going to be giving the CJCC update for Melissa Stillen, and I have to head down to court and be ready very shortly for the oral ruling in front of Judge Tolan. So I was wondering if I could just give that now, just in case.
You go right ahead.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So Melissa Stillen is unable to be here, and so she asked me to give the May CJCC update. As you know, there was an open position of a case manager, and they anticipate being fully staffed this month on the 17th. That person will be starting, so that's good news. In May, they had one person complete the first-time offender program, and it had very positive feedback from the participants, so that's good. The substance diversion program had 3 participants. The IDIP intoxicated driver intervention program did not have any participants, but had 2 new referrals, so hopefully those can get started. Treatment court had 11 participants, and they also had 2 terminations, and that means folks that were asked to leave the program for noncompliance. But the CJCC continues to work in collaboration with the child welfare and folks to secure the potential of a family treatment court program. We have the full CJCC committee meeting coming up, and we've secured Judge Babler, who runs the family treatment court in Barron County, to speak by video conference with the CJCC. So we're hoping to get that started. And we have buy-in from both of the judges on that, and that is really exciting. Those are cases where we have out-of-home placements of children based upon a parent's having substance use being the primary issue. It involves a lot more frequent contact with the court, and a lot of peer supports and extra supports from the community and from the department. So that's something that I personally am looking forward to implementing at some point, but that is the update from Melissa.
Any graduation that you put on there at all or date for it?
She did not put any on here, but I do believe we either had one at the very end of last month or maybe early this month. But I'll find out and make sure we can get that information to folks. If your meeting gets done before 3 and wanted to hop over, this is the Realtors Association lawsuit. It doesn't involve this committee in particular, but those supervisors who might be interested be great. And the administrator, if you get done in time.
I had some notes on a graduation here, but it apparently never got confirmed.
Yeah, they email us, so
Yeah.
I'll make sure you know if there's one.
I also want to add that we've now appointed Fran Duncanson to our representative, who didn't have any interest basically from this committee. But so Fran will represent our interest as a county board at CJCC and be able to answer some of these questions when Malia is not around or not available. So Fran is here too also, so. Okay,
Any questions at all for Malia before she heads off?
I know it's not on your agenda, but I could also let you know that Matt Tome is going to be joining the county board for a closed session to discuss the Stour litigation as a result of Judge Black's last decision. So.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we got Supervisor Rowdy with the ATV UTV update.
Yes. Today, the one discussion that I found very interesting is that grading of the trails. And the reason I find it so interesting is because that discussion has been going on for the 6 years I've been on the committee, or not on the ad hoc one, but on this committee. And it's just it has been a problem over the years, and as they're showing, it's a tough situation, but they're dealing with it and working with the council, because Rod was talking about and Tony about you know, whether you grade the edges and whether you just try to crown it and what works the best. And it is a hard issue from all I've heard over the years to try and get it crowned, because you're working with such a small area. And then they went back years ago they didn't mention it today, but we were talking about speed of grading, how fast you go. And I know we had some big issues back years ago. I didn't mention the committee, but they even went up to Burnett County and borrowed their grader and tried that on the Gandy Dancer. And that didn't work out so good. And if you do the edges, I'm just talking from years ago, but if you do the edges and turn them in, then that upsets the people that are riding the bikes and hiking in. So that issue becomes a problem, and you gotta let the grass die. So all I'm saying is it is a hard thing to solve. And they were working on some test areas that I think Rod's have talked about his area. And I think they were working toward toward a solution today. If they can get there.
How wide an area do they try and grade? How wide is it?
Our widest trail seems to be the cattail. And that's usually the one that we have the most issues with, or we get some pooling and then, once that water breaks through, then we have washouts and we gotta go fix it with riprap and everything else. And now I know they instructed their groomers to come in and grade it, stay a foot off the edge. That seems to have really helped. So that you have that hard surface, so it's not soft and so easily eroded.
It seemed that you could take a new cutting edge and build your crown into a cutting edge. You'd have to, of course, cut it, but cut so that you could do a single pass and get your crown instead of trying to do half. I know where the blade is on it.
Same as a gravel road.
Yeah, the same crown as a gravel road, but you could do it in one pass if you cut a cutting edge and build it into it. I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, some of these areas are in excess of 20 feet wide,
How many?
20 feet wide,
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
see what's the moldboard?
12,
Well,
12 to 14.
wouldn't work for everything.
Um,
It might work for some snow. Anything else?
No, that should be.
Any questions for Supervisor Rowdy? Okay, so we're discussion and possible action regarding highway salary audit.
Excuse me, do you think one quick thing, you think we should see if Fran has any additions to the report that Malia had on CJCC? I know she was at the meeting.
Okay.
Just that it's my understanding we have a graduation tomorrow.
Was it tomorrow?
Yeah, that it is, they were looking at June 7th or 14th, and that it is tomorrow. I believe that Melissa will put an email or put something out, so everyone's aware of it and is invited to attend. We may want to verify that before you head over here, though, if there's not an email coming. But she explained the program, gave updates. I was new there, my first one. Discussion held on having Judge Babler come over. And as you can see, he is going to be coming over next month. So really nothing much to add to what Malia had.
It's a learning cycle in that committee.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by the programs they offer.
Mo and I were pretty impressed. We went to a graduation,
Yeah.
sat through the court part of it. I just went to the cake before. And, nobody really told me I could go to the court part.
Yeah,
We went to that. I mean, it was interesting to see these people get up and the judge quiz them about, you do this, you met this,
Really interesting when you know them,
yeah.
had that experience.
Okay, I'll be there if there's no milk tournament ball game at that time. I think there is on Friday. Okay, so salary audit, is that yours, Mo?
Actually, that was covered by Josh during his update, and it was the monthly sheet he handed out.
Okay,
So that was covered.
okay. The work plan. Update, work plan in any way? Anybody know anything we should?
Just for July, we need to add fees.
These?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a
Adding?
little time to review it. It's in August, but we can bring it to you in July also, just for review.
Which one?
Work plan.
Fee schedule.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Anything else, Mr. Chief? Otherwise, I move to adjourn.
You bet.
Mr. Chair.
You bet.
I know we usually in July go in and take a tour of the jail and supervisors. I'd extend that offer, but if you guys don't want to do that, we don't have to do it. In the past, we've held the July meeting at noon over in the community room. So it's up to you.
You know-
If that's something you want to continue doing, or if you want to,
I wish we could get more county board members to come to it.
and we could arrange a tour. We could honestly arrange a tour anytime. So that's always possible if you want to even discuss that at a meeting. But as far as I think after COVID, they did away with the requirement that I have to do that. So.
Okay.
I know it's been positive in the past, but again, I'm fine with, I think you've all tasted jail food and you've all,
Sheriff, could we add a tour of the 911 update for dispatch?
absolutely.
So they can see what's going on there also.
Yeah, it was always part of that.
I think there was some interest that has been in conjunction with something else. That might have been the 911. They talked about incorporating a jail tour for anybody interested, particularly the people that have never been to the jail.
Then I would just ask if you want to do that, we'll set the meeting for noon for your next meeting in July.
Well, we can certainly introduce it to county board and see if we can get any show of hands and see if we can get some new people. You know,
Right.
I guess with the update of the 911 center, I'd like to see it. So,
Yeah.
We'll leave it that way until we, if you no interest at all at the county board meeting, we'll decide. We could always set something separate up then.
Sure.
I would like to bring it up at the county board meeting, or you could bring it up. We tried it over the years and people are always showing an interest and then we don't get anybody there.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I understand during the COVID time why we didn't get nobody,
Yeah,
but you know, now there's really no reason not to have. I mean, something everybody should see and do. So.
Especially 911.
Maybe we could have a special time for that. If somebody had, rather than at our meeting.
You mentioned noon.
What?
You mentioned having it at noon.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, on a different day than ours, as a special meeting for people interested, so we don't run into time constraints.
And, let's see, we don't have any subject matters for the next meeting that anybody knows of. So John adjourns us. All right, John, now you're up.
Motion to adjourn. I got a meeting at Justice Center at 3:00.
Where?
Justice Center.
that's where we're going.
Oh, you're going to that court thing? Oh,